All right. Hey, everybody. We are here with you today. I have a special guest who is a new friend of mine, who is also a friend of Ephesus in the way of Seth Savoy. Seth is the business manager for Richmond Academy, and he also works with the Virginia tax program that I've been telling you so much about. Seth, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us how the Virginia tax credit program works?
Sure, Pastor. The Virginia Tax Credit Program has been around for 7 years, and the legislation was passed. And what the legislation does is it allows donors to give to private education, and the donations go for scholarships at private schools. And the donors receive a Virginia state tax credit of 65% of their donation. If you were to, in this situation, give $1,000 for scholarships through this program at Ephesus Junior Academy, what would happen is the state of Virginia would say, thank you for the donation to the private school of your choice. And when it comes time to pay your state taxes, if you donated $1,000, you have a $650 state tax credit. So let's say during the year, if you'd paid all the state taxes that you were supposed to pay, out of your payroll, then the state of Virginia will send you a check for $650. If you owed state taxes, let's say you owed more than $650, then the $650 would be a tax credit that would be applied against what you owe, and then you would just pay the difference. So it's actual dollars in your pocket.
Wow. And so is there also a federal tax benefit?
If you are one of those people that do itemize, there is a federal tax deduction as well of 30% of your donation. So if you gave $1,000, you would receive a $650 state tax credit. And if you were a person that itemized your federal taxes, you'd receive another 30% federal tax deduction. So almost cost nothing to give.
So we can see this as a win-win-win.
It's a great program, and Richmond Academy, we use the program, and we have many families that are recipients of the scholarships. And the fact is, if we didn't have the program, we would probably still have those families attend, but we would be essentially discounting their tuition so they could attend Richmond Academy. Basically, we would be pulling money out of the budget to help assist them. With this program, donors can contribute, so those families can attend Richmond Academy, but we don't have to have lost the money in financial aid. We actually have the money coming in from donations. So it helps the students attend. In your case, it helps your students attend Ephesus Junior Academy, but it helps your school have income coming in to cover the tuition for those students. And it costs the donors almost nothing.
That is a real blessing. That's a real blessing.
The dollars have to flow through a foundation. A donor can't just write a check to Ephesus Junior Academy. The dollars have to flow through a foundation. And the foundations in Virginia are recommended to keep 10% of the contributions for their overhead and expenses. The majority of that goes to an audit. There's a really complex audit that's done, and it's a non-SDA audit. It's a completely independent audit. And the state requires that so they can make sure that the scholarship foundations are, doing things the right way. In our case, you all are part of the Potomac Conference Education Foundation, and our expense is only 8%. We started out with 10, but because of the volume of donations that have flowed through, we're able to reduce it a little bit, and our hope is to reduce it even more. So, yeah, donors, if you give $1,000, you'll have this $650 tax credit, federal tax deduction if you can do that on your taxes, and 92% of those dollars go directly to scholarships at Ephesus Junior Academy.
Now, what are the restrictions on how the money is used at our school?
Sure. Well, the dollars are required to be used for scholarships for qualified applicants. The first requirement is the applicants need to be from families that are Virginia residents. And the families have to be below the family income requirements. The family income requirements are that the students' families need to be earning less than 300% of the poverty level, of the federal poverty level. And you might think, well, that's people that, they're just barely scraping by. Actually, for a family of four, 300% of the poverty level is $78,600. So many families that are middle income families would qualify for the program. So need to be a Virginia resident, qualify financially. Additionally, the students need to be entering kindergarten or first grade, or they have to have been attending a Virginia public school for at least one semester, or they have to have been a prior recipient. So again, first grade or kindergarten, or they were in public school. So if you have a sixth grader who's coming from public school, that child will qualify. Or you have a student actually who's already a recipient of the program. That student can continue on the program. So prior students are eligible as well. There are some caps. That the cap is by county. The maximum scholarship is for Chesterfield. It's a Chesterfield resident. It's $5,600 for the school year. For Richmond, it's about $5,600 as well. So the cap is that figure or the maximum tuition, registration fees, and all expenses at Ephesus Junior Academy. So if your cost was $8,000, the max a child could receive is the $5,600. If all of your costs were $5,000, that would be the max scholarship per child.
For the people who want to participate, what would their next steps be?
It's never just as easy as sending a check. With this particular program, donors have to become pre-qualified, and there's a form to become pre-qualified. Pastor, I'll send you the form, and I think we've talked about you may have a method to streamline that process for your parishioners, but there's a form to become pre-authorized. A potential donor would complete the form. The form would come back ultimately to me. I submit it to the state of Virginia. The state of Virginia will provide me with an approval letter, which I would send either back to you, Pastor, or directly to your parishioner, whatever's your choice. It's a fairly easy process, but it's not just as easy as writing a check. You need to get pre-approved. Once you're pre-approved at that point, a donor can write a check or multiple checks. Once a donor is approved, then they have 180 days to contribute the amount that they have been pre-approved for. Now, they're not obligated. Let's say, Pastor Banks, let's say that it was you and you said, I want to do $10,000, and then you realized you didn't have that. You're not obligated to do any amount, even though you become pre-approved. But if you said, I want to do $10,000, you'd have up to 180 days where you could do up to $10,000. You could do it, $1,000 a month or whatever. And if you wanted to give after the 180 days, you would just have to get pre-approved again.
Oh, so that works out really nicely for us. I think a lot of people have asked how they can do it incrementally. So if they fill out the form, the pre-authorization form, and they have the 180 days, so they can make payments or donations periodically over time until the 180 days is over. And if they need to, they can do it another 180 days.
That's right. That's right. The timing, an awful lot of people in Virginia do their contributions late in the year, and it's not required. It just seems like a lot do. And the reason is that if a person gives their money in December and then they file their taxes in January or February, they get the tax credit back pretty quick. So they say they're not out the money for very long. But certainly people, whatever works for people, if they want to do, a monthly or, a couple of times a year, whatever, we can facilitate that. But once they're pre-authorized, pre-approved, they're pre-approved for 180 days. They're not obligated. But if let's say it's you, Pastor, let's say you were pre-approved for 1,000 and you realized you wanted to give more, it's not a big deal. We submit a form to get you pre-approved for more. Easy process.
This is all very exciting, and the people of Ephesus have shown their support. We've gotten several pledges. I think we're going to have a successful year as a result of it. So again, thank you for joining me tonight for this video and for inviting us to be part of this amazing program.
Well, Pastor, thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to working with you and your people to help your school have a successful year and have the donors be able to support the school and also leverage their finances. So thank you.
Amen. My pleasure.